My name is Hayden Payne. I'm a first-year grad student here at the U of A in the School of Plant and Life Sciences. So I've only been in Tucson a couple months. I've only been on campus like 2 months, and in that time I've been taking classes, but I've also been rotating in a couple different labs. So the first rotation I did was in Dr. Becky Mosier's lab, and the week before the start of classes, we met in her office over in the Marley building right there, and she said, I've got 2 projects that I think would be great for you to work on just while you're trying out my lab getting started in grad school. One of them is a wet bench project working with grasses, which is pretty related to my background in plant science, so that project would have been a little easy for me. And she also said, but I also have another project for you. It's a little bit complicated and a little bit risky. And that kind of intrigued me right away. I was kind of interested, and she said it'll require a lot of learning on your part, and also draw on some of your computational skills, bringing that into the biological question of this project. So hearing about both these projects, I was interested in them both, but the idea that I could start off the bat learning something complicated about a way to computationally analyze biological data was pretty exciting. So I definitely wanted to jump in with that project. So the idea behind my first rotation project was to pull RNA sequence data from a database and convert it into transcriptome assemblies using a software called Trinity. And I had almost no experience with any of the aspects related to this project, but as I did reading and started to kind of figure out the steps of this workflow, I realized that I would really need to get to know the university's high performance computing system, the HPC, and that was a little bit intimidating to me. I didn't have experience with an HPC in the past, really, and I was a little bit intimidated, even just knowing how to get started. So when I found out that the HPC staff offered office hours weekly, I went virtually to their office hours. I think they were a little surprised to see me, but they were so helpful in pointing me towards resources on how to get started with the HPC, beyond just making an HPC account and logging in for the first time, but also how to load specific software modules, how to run them, and how to work interactively with the HPC, as well as sending in a batch of jobs using the Slurm manager. So even after the first meeting with the HPC staff, I knew that I had a great resource available to me, and that I actually would be able to learn stuff and complete the goals of my project if I knew how to ask for help. And then the next week, Chris Reedy, the head of the HPC department, actually came to one of my classes, a cyber infrastructure class taught by Eric Lyons and Nirav Merchant. He came to the class for 2 different lectures and gave everybody an intro on the HPC, sort of some very basic interactive programs that we can run, and an overview of what the HPC could be used for. And so that was another great learning moment for me, having Chris come to my class, recognize me from HPC office hours, and kind of encourage all of us in the class to use the HPC for our class projects as well as stuff outside of class, like my rotation work. So after that, I had even more confidence going into the HPC, and I worked with Sarah a lot from the staff in order to get the Trinity software up and running that had been the original goal of my project. So I'm so grateful for the help that the HPC staff provided, for the great resource that the HPC is, and I'm so helpful that even though I'm not Even though I wasn't well versed in the computational tools when I got here, now I know a little bit more, and I know that I can continue to learn and do great work using that resource that we have here on campus. So just to all the other students out there, I know that the HPC can seem intimidating at first, especially if you don't have a lot of computational experience, but there's a great team and great tools available to you if you're willing to just ask for help. So go ahead and reach out and learn something new.